Thanks, Frankie. So we just showed you the embarrassing loss last night that the Jays suffered at the hands of the White Sox, but it's not all bad news. The boys in blue also made some big moves on trade deadline day. And joining me for more on this is our friend Hugh Burrill from Sportsnet's starting lineup at the Fan 590. Hugh, good morning.
Hey, Adam, how you doing this morning?
Fantastic. So I want to know a little bit more about, first off, we got to talk about our trade with the Huston Astros. Liriano goes to Houston, and we get Aoki and a prospect that is very, very interesting.
Yeah, well, Teoscar Hernandez. With Aoki, what you're getting is a guy who basically can do a little bit of everything, gives you a little bit more bat than Ezekiel Carrera in the outfield. You can put him in as a pinch runner, pinch hitter. So we're kind of a utility player. He's got a couple of home runs for the Astros this year. 19 RBIs. So, I mean, none of these moves were gigantic yesterday for the Blue Jays. They were more just moving little pieces here and there. Liriano had struggled this year with the Blue Jays. He was in the starting rotation, and he never seemed to be able to put it together for them, so they felt that move was necessary. Teoscar Hernandez, maybe a prospect who could jump in. Don't be surprised to see a guy like Hernandez in the Blue Jays lineup come September. And then, of course, they moved Joe Smith, reliever Joe Smith, to the Cleveland Indians. Joe Smith, a really valuable trade chip. They moved him for some prospects as well. Joe Smith having a great year. Lots of teams were interested. He ended up going to Cleveland. So these moves aren't necessarily made for the remainder of this year. They're made kind of for next year and moving into the future a little bit.
Hugh, with regards to the Jays next year, Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins have said that they are committed to the Jays being competitive next year. And with a rough season this year, is it time to rebuild? Is it time for them to tinker? What do you think the direction of them will be over the next 6 months?
Yeah, Adam, that word rebuild is kind of a strange word. It's almost like a four-letter word around the halls here over at Sportsnet. I don't think they're in for a rebuild, more a retooling a little bit. Let's face it, this year is a bit of an anomaly. Lots of guys hurt. Your starting second baseman, Devin Travis, has been basically out for the entire season. Josh Donaldson was injured earlier this year. Troy Tulowitzki was injured earlier this year. He's injured again. So these are major pieces of your lineup that have been out with injuries. So it's kind of hard to gauge what kind of team you would be with those guys out of the lineup. We know what kind of team they are with those guys in the lineup. They went to the ALCS last year and the year before. So these guys are very valuable pieces. You probably don't want to be you don't want to be hasty in making major moves and retooling this entire lineup when really a lot of your main pieces were out with injuries this year. They are going to try to be competitive next year, obviously. So none of these moves were made as part of a tear down, more just a kind of a fine tinkering, as it were.
How late into the night did you watch that Sox game? Did you watch right to the end last night?
Well, I get up really early to be on Sportsnet 590's the starting lineup. So I get up at 2:30 in the morning. So, and the game started at 8. So I was in bed probably around 8:45 last night. But when I went to bed, it was 3-0 for the Blue Jays. They just hit 3 solo home runs. They were looking good, apparently, or they had a 6-0 lead in this game. And then they found themselves on the other end of that walk-off, losing 7-6 last night. So it's amazing. Baseball's a funny game. You go from the euphoria from Sunday where they fought back from a 6-run deficit to the next night blowing a 6-run lead and losing in Chicago. Again, baseball's cruel is what I'm trying to say.
It sure is, and it is not over till the last out. Okay, so the White Sox game tonight, quickly, 8 o'clock on Sportsnet. Are they going to be able to just kind of forget last night and move on, or is that going to linger?
Yeah. Yeah, they have to, and that's the beauty of baseball. There's always another game, and you've got your best pitcher on the mound tonight in Marcus Stroman, looking for his 10th win of the season. Yeah, I think they're going to bounce back.
Awesome. Hugh Burrill from Sportsnet 590's the starting lineup. Thank you, Hugh. It's nice to see you.